Jay here from Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio, we're live. You know what to do. Get involved in the chat and the comments. We're going to be talking about the farcical nature of yesterday evening, where it seemed that 1 minute the bids were gone in, or they had gone in, that's what everyone was telling us. So we thought anyway. Then the next minute, oh well, actually, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim, the two main bidders for Manchester United, haven't submitted their second offer. So a lot of confusion going on there, a lot of egg on the faces of certain journalists who've been sort of leading the way on these stories, and a lot of backtracking as well. So we'll get into all that. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. First of all, I want to talk about someone that, I don't know, hasn't been in the news as much lately, or certainly not in, Manchester United's sphere of news recently. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, Ronaldo obviously went to Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. You can see here, he's spoken about Manchester United, and he said, it wasn't a very good phase in my life. He's also said that he's a better man since he left. He said, I'm often grateful to go through some difficult things so I can see who is really on my side. It wasn't a very good phase in my life, in my career, first on a personal level, then professionally. And for starters, it's easy to sort of have a dig or stick the knife in with Ronnie or whatever, but on the personal level, we know what happened to him during his time at Manchester United. He suffered the loss of a child, which is absolutely horrendous. So I understand that, I understand what he's talking about, and, you have to have sympathy for that. I think so anyway. Well, no, I don't think so anyway. It's not up for debate. You do. He also says there are no time for regrets in life. When we are at the top of the mountain, it's hard to see what's down here, and many times I couldn't. I feel like I'm better prepared now because I can see some things. I'm a better man now. It went sour with Ronnie. That interview with Piers Morgan sort of, seems to turn a lot of fans against him. The way he was having a dig at Erik ten Hag and some of the comments he made just seemed a little bit out of order, to be honest with you. I'm not going to change what I said at the time. So, yeah, it was disappointing. It's sad because Ronaldo's obviously a player that had won a lot at United. Also in that season that he played, when he came back, that full season, he was one of the few players who actually did himself any credit. He scored, 24 goals, 18 in the Premier League. Despite the fact United were a shambles, he played very well. But, yeah, I think now when I see Ronaldo and talking about United and his time there, me personally, I just want to move on. The RBP says, Jay, you've just reminded me to pick my head. Top man, Fayez Baksh, Lewis Green, Whitterbird, Niall Murphy, Tobias Nilsson. All say, morning, Jay. Morning, you lovely people. Right, should we move on to what went on last night? Because this was just an absolute farce. It really was. Me and Joe were on the live at 9 o'clock. Well, 9:30 I think we were. Now, at 9 o'clock, everyone was saying, or before 9 o'clock, everyone was saying bids have come in from both Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim. They're the two main bidders, yeah? They're the ones that everyone thinks are going to go toe-to-toe for the ownership of Manchester United Football Club. Everyone was saying, right, the bids have come in, now it's up to the Glazers or the Rain Group who are facilitating the sale to have a look at them and decide who's made the best bid or whatever. Are they going to go to a third round, or are they going to go, is it going to be a bidding war, or is one of them going to be like of one, if you can use that term? However, it wasn't long after that people were saying, actually, Ratcliffe hasn't put a bid in, and neither Sheikh Jassim. Not a second bid anyway. They've actually asked for an extension. We've got some tweets here. Oh, no, sorry. We'll start with this. So this is from the Mail. This is Mike Keegan in the Mail. It says, Manchester United takeover battle descends into farce as it emerges. Bids from Qatar and Sir Jim Ratcliffe were not lodged before Wednesday's soft deadline, despite both groups claiming they were. What is it with these soft deadlines? What's the point in deadline if it's just, well, we've got a deadline and we like to stick to it, but if you don't, it don't really matter. Well, that's not a deadline. It says there, both parties missed the initial deadline set by the US bank handling the process. It just, it talks about what went on, the fact that, neither of those bids had come in by the 9 p.m. deadline. Now, we know that both Sir Jim Ratcliffe and a delegation representing Sheikh Jassim had been to Old Trafford. We know after that initial first bid, in the first round of bidding, they'd had access to the Manchester United account so they can go have a look at them and decide, what's what and, how much they're prepared to come in with the second bid. So that all makes sense. This was a bit of a surprise. And the reason it was a surprise is because so many people have been telling us that the bids have come in. Make sure you are hitting that like button, by the way. Smash a like, as they say. Let's get to 200 likes. Smash a like. So, to show why it was so confusing, if we can go to the timeline of Sky Sports. Now, this is Cave Solikol from Sky. He's been sort of very vocal and very sort of forthcoming with the bidding and the news and the stories. He's been Sky's go-to guy with this. They've gone to him and said, okay, he's the guy that can give you the updates. So you can see here from March the 21st, it talks about the visit. Then yesterday, you've got Qatar Sheikh Jassim will make world record bid to buy Manchester United this evening. Funds in place. Big question is whether the Glazer family really want to sell. I felt that was a little bit disingenuous because when I watched that and it was like Sheikh Jassim will make world record bid, he'd already done that. The bid for the first round of bid for United was already world record. So it looks great when you say it like that, but it wasn't really news. Then he says, sort of, on the back of that, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos will make an improved bid for Manchester United before today's 9 p.m. deadline for second offers. Now, if we scroll up, we can see, keep going, there you go. This is the kicker. Sheikh Jassim from Qatar has made, so you're saying he's made, new improved world record bid for Manchester United. Debt-free, he believes it's best fit for club, fans, and the community. Bid went in before 9 p.m. deadline. Now, that's amazing to say that and it not be true. You literally say, he believes it's best bid for club, fans and the community. And he hasn't made that bid. So how can he believe a bid he's not made is the best for the club, fans and the community? Now, whether you want Sheikh Jassim or Jim Ratcliffe in, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact of this story. It's not true. Because he hasn't made that bid. And it says their bid went in before 9 p.m. deadline. Then you go to the next one. And these were all on Sky. These are the tweets, but the actual, on the live, they were talking about it. Sheikh Jassim remains confident and fully engaged in his bid to buy Manchester United. The next move's up to Glazer family and their advisors. Big question is, do they want to sell? There won't be an immediate response to the new bids. Waiting game until next week. There won't be an immediate response to new bids because there ain't been any new bids. And if you carry on, incredible development. Now being told Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe bids have not been received yet by Rain Group in New York. Both asked for extensions and request has been accommodated. Many proposals have been submitted. So basically what you're saying there is everything I've been telling you is wrong. There hasn't been any bids. They don't think this is the best bid. This isn't a new improved bid. Isn't a new improved world record bid. They haven't made any bids. It's different if you're saying bids will be submitted, because that might be what you've been told and that might be true, and then something may change. I get that. It's like saying United are going to make, sign Christian Eriksen. United are expected or going to sign Christian Eriksen, and then that doesn't happen for whatever reason. Okay, they were going to, they didn't end up doing it. It's like when they were saying City were going to sign Ronnie. There was probably a time when that was going to happen, and then it didn't. But if you say a bid has gone in, that's like saying United have signed Eriksen or City have signed Ronaldo, and then going, oh, actually, they haven't. And that's what happened. And I think, is that the last one? Is there more? So there's incredible development. Then there's this. Rain received many proposals from Man United before tonight's 9 p.m. deadline, but not from Sheikh Jassim or Ratcliffe yet. They have been granted extensions. Rain were expecting between 5 and 8 bids. Now, I don't know Cave Solikol, and I presume he's got his sources. You'd expect him to have his sources. But to contradict yourself and to be to come out of a statement and then an hour later say, what I've just said is wrong, is pretty amazing to me, to be honest with you. I just think it undermines your credibility massively. Because now people are looking at you going, if you were to tell me, today is Thursday, I'd check my calendar. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not I don't know, you might be different, you might still trust the geezer, but I'm sceptical now when he says something, because it's now been saying, toll Glazers do want to sell, but only they know how much they want for the sale. Even some of the most senior people involved in the sale process do not know the asking price. First round of bids from Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe were both about 4.5 billion. And I just feel like now you've sort of undermine yourself. And it says here, Sheikh Jassim's new Qatari bid for Man United is ready to go, but definitely not submitted it. Yeah, definitely. So when it was submitted, that was nonsense, but now it's definitely not submitted. Told he was offered extension, decided to take the offer up of one. But this is another thing as well. This tweet, and I'm not just trying to dig him out, he's not the only one who's backtracked here, because I think Romano and a few other ones who you think are relatively reliable also went back and forth on this. But these two sentences sum it up. Told he was offered extension and decided to take up the offer of one, but other insiders saying he and Sir Jim Ratcliffe both asked for extensions and extensions have been granted. So those two sentences contradict each other. I mean, it's very, very difficult in it to get your head around this and to believe it and to say, okay, this is where we're at. It's just more or less saying, I ain't got a jar of glue. What is going on? That's what you're saying. Those stream of tweets, and it's not just the tweets. I've highlighted these tweets, but this was going out on Sky. This was live videos that were going out as he was sat at his desk telling us all this, telling people that actually what I've just been saying all afternoon is wrong. Now, he might have been stitched up. He might have been told one thing off people he thinks are reliable and who know what's going on, and then they've got it wrong, or they weren't as ITK as he thought they were. But it's pretty shambolic. And, like I said earlier, I think Romano went with it, said there was bids in, and then said there wasn't. A few other papers and outlets said it as well. So he's not on his own here. But the problem, or the issue you could say, is he's been leading the way with these stories. He's been the go-to guy with these stories. And now it looks like he don't know what he's on about. I'll get in some of the comments. Apologies, I've just... Aplan says, shambles from Sky. Gadget, he's making it up as he goes along. UFC MMA says, big time, Jay, good morning, Britain. I thought I was just doing Granada. I usually do a bit of filming like this. ITV, I'll come and film you, give you your opinion. It's usually just local Granada, but it actually went out on Good Morning Britain. Tobias Nielsen says, they have no clue, just guessing. Gadget, source, I made it up. Santa Notch, who at the club is leaking these news stories to journalists? Who knows? Patrick Cassidy, do people go quicker with United news because it gets clicks? Like, listen, I'm a journalist, right? I know, you might say, Jay, you work for a YouTube channel. But, I was a journalist, a local reporter for 10 years. I've got a, degree in journalism. That was my life for a big chunk of it. And my sort of, what I was always told is it's more important to be right than to be first. It's, that's the most important thing. Have you got your sources in order? Do you know this is definitely the case? Not just, let's be first with something we haven't got stood up. And it feels like a few people have been more interested in being first. And because of that, they've been left with egg on the face because it's not been true. Peter Griffith says, leaks are back. I mean, if you're leaking stuff that's wrong, though, you're not doing anyone any favours. Jason McMillan says, lol, people so overreacting, lol. Squawk says, big up Jay, probably a lot of conflicting information getting sent around. It'll come to light, I'm sure. Yeah, there probably is. People are probably trying to make, decide, okay, I've been told this. Is he reliable or is she reliable? I've been told this. How close to them are they to the Ineos group or the Qatari bid? How close are they to the club? How close are they to the Glazers? I think a big part of this is the fact the Glazers are sort of keeping things relatively close to the chest, and it's not even them dealing with this, it's the Rain Group. So you've got these issues as well. Now, we know there were some bids that went in, as far as we can gather. I mean, at the minute, I feel like, do we know anything? Can we trust anyone? But we were told was it 5 bids, I think, that went in? Now, we don't know who those bids were from. Nothing's been confirmed, but it seems to be Elliott Management Group, Aries, MSD Partners, and Oaktree Capital. They're the ones that are said to be interested. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I can 100% tell you that they've put those bids in. Those are the ones who might be interested. We've been told all the bids have gone in. My job here is to tell you what's being reported. That's what's being reported. Now, usually, I'll sit here and say, Sky reporting it, Romano reporting it, I believe him, because that's 2 heavy hitters. And at the minute now, I'm like, I don't believe anything until I see it with my own eyes. So, see this is confirmed by, I don't know, one of the Glazer Muppets going on the telly and saying we've sold the club. Even then, I wouldn't trust him. So, yeah, I think at the minute, we've just got to wait and see what happens. We're expecting new bids. New bids should be coming in. We'll have to wait and see. The extension has been extended. Obviously, that's because it's an extension. But we're expecting new bids from both Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that because they've had a chance to look at the books, haven't they? So maybe they've looked at the books and gone, wow, this club's in a reet mess when it comes to money. Are we going to go all out? Now, the one thing that the Glazers have got going in their favour is Sir Jim Ratcliffe has, allegedly, this emotional attachment to Manchester United. It's not just about the business side of things. It's also that he wants to own Manchester United because he's from the area and he was a United fan when he was a kid. Sheikh Jassim Also says he has an emotional attachment, he says, as a United fan, but also has pretty much unlimited funds if you believe he's got access to the Qatari fund. So it does feel like the perfect storm for the Glazers, where you've got these two bidders who, for similar-ish reasons, are willing to go or pay, or could be willing to pay more than what their club is actually worth. Because if you're just going in it from a business point of view, you probably go, right, the club's worth that, that's what we'll pay. If you're coming in it from any sort of emotional attachment, you'll go, the club's worth that, but I'm willing to go there because I want to own Manchester United Football Club. Max K says the extensions have indeed been extended. There you go. Bestino Portugal says Fabrizio Motti, yeah, listen, I'm the least ITK person ever. And I almost wear that as a badge of honour. I'd rather not be ITK, especially when you see what's going on. Hit that like button, people. We've got over 1,200 people watching. We haven't got 200 likes yet, which is, come on, it's an absolute disgrace. Jonas Loic says, Qatari and Glazer out, Sir Jim Ratcliffe in, Glazer out. Listen, you might differ on who you want coming in. You might be more inclined to prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You might want the Qatari bid, Sheikh Jassim. But one thing the vast majority of people seem to be in agreement upon, United fans anyway, is you want the Glazers gone. It's been 18 long years. MX10 says, these rats are amazing at making the worst possible football business. They are, and the thing is, right, sometimes with business people, you go, all right, I don't like them, I don't trust them, but I can respect the fact they've made loads of money from their business dealings. They've got something about them when it comes to business, because they've made hundreds of millions of pounds. But these Glazer lot haven't done that, have they? They were Malcolm Glazer's kids, so he just gave him United when he died, left it to them. They've just inherited this. It's not like they've been so clever and crafty or whatever, they've made this happen. It's just Daddy gave it them. So there's no evidence to say that they know what they're doing and they're savvy. And they're not. Look how they run the club. It's been a shambles. Have you spent 1.4 billion or whatever we've spent in the last 10 years and not won a title? Have you got a stadium that's falling apart, that still needs to be either revamped or rebuilt, depending on your point of view? Have you got a training ground that needs to be basically rebuilt? One that you inherited in 2005 that was 5 years old and you haven't done out with since, other than knock down a few trees and put up some cameras and then take him down again. This is the amazing thing to me. Whoever buys Manchester United Football Club doesn't just have to spend money or invest in the team. They've got to basically rebuild Old Trafford and the training ground as well. That's ridiculous how it's come to this situation. And the reason it's come to this situation is because of the Glazers. Because they got hold of the club and didn't care about it and just let it go downhill. And it's very, very lucky that things haven't been even worse. It's nothing to do with their design. It's by luck. The fact that we're still in a situation now where we're not a million miles away from the top of the league. I'm not saying we're going to win the league this season, but we're in that top 400. We've won a trophy this season, mainly thanks to Eric Ten Hag, just like thanks to Sir Alex Ferguson's genius. We stayed competitive and won titles when the Glazers came in because he kept the club going, he kept the team going. But when you look at what they've done and the decisions they've made, it just beggars belief. They've been absolutely terrible. I've got a couple of things I want to plug here. I'm going to put, if I can find it, there's a link here to something that someone got in touch with me about this. And it's a charity it's 100 miles in March for Mind. And this is a lady, Maria Walton, who she lost a son to suicide. So she's doing a march to Old Trafford. I'm going to put a link in the chat there. You should be able, I think you can help out if you want to get involved and donate. I think it was her nephew who reached out to me, told me about it. I know this is quite heavy for a Thursday morning, but it's something I remember when I was a reporter covering inquests and suicide. I've lost friends to suicide. So if you can help out, please, by all means, do. Because obviously it's a good cause. And, she's a red. If you're thinking, well, what's the United angle here? This is United fans. And she's marching, or she's walking, to Old Trafford as part of a long walk, I think, across the country to raise money for an absolutely fantastic cause. Because suicide, especially amongst young lads, is so prevalent. It really is, and it's sad to see. It's just heartbreaking. So my heart goes out to those people. We're going to be back later on, me and Joseph. We're going to be having a bit of a transfer debate. So I know a couple of people saying, any transfer news? There was one story I saw about Dean Henderson might be going to Spurs, if anyone cares. But we'll be getting into transfer story later. Me and Joe having a bit of a debate about strikers. Who do you want to see coming in? If you want more info or you want another video, Stephen Howson on his channel, I've just put a link in the chat. He's going to go live about 11. He's going to be talking about these mystery bidders, who they're going to be. So you can go and check him out as well. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat today. Good discussion. Bit of a farce as to what is going on with these bids. No doubt there's more to be revealed, and we'll be right on the front of it. But we won't be going first. We'll be going with accuracy. Yeah, it's not just about being first. It's about being right, and that's what we're going to try and do. So yeah, when we find out updates, we'll be sure to let you know. We'll be going live. We'll be keeping it all over socials as well. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty. This has been the Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.